welcome back to Backroom Convos with Lisa. For on the line, we have Avashni. She is Avashni Reddy. She is Miss World South Africa quarterfinalist, and we saw five. How many questions did you ask already? It's 6 questions that we've asked from you, the audience. So on the break, we had issues with her hearing us and vice versa. But I think Avashni, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I think we can continue with the questions that we have for us. So this is the question that they had for you. Can you share any memorable experience that you have had during your reign as Miss World South Africa? This is also like a future question for people who don't have context that, but you cannot.
I think so far the most memorable experience that I have as being a quarterfinalist, I think there's actually 2 scenarios. The first one was just preparing my applications. That took a lot out of like every single contestant that applied, and it's really admirable how many people put in the effort to do it. It was a turning point for me because you really had to answer the question knowing what you wanted and doing the videos knowing what is expected of you. And the second one was, I think, my radio interview that took place a few weeks ago. It was the first time I was on radio, so it was really a life-changing moment for me and a milestone in my life that I'll always remember. So I would think that so far has been 2 of the most memorable things.
No, that's nice. So, like, this is me going off the questions again. So I just wanted to find out, because I was looking at, because people have been asking me, like, to say, like, we see, like, some of the people that are a part of the beauty pageant and stuff, and, like, so the only concern is that, like, they do want to vote, they do want to vote for some of the people who are part of the beauty pageant, but the only challenge is that the ratings are high. Like, one SMS is like 20 rand, and given that at this point in our country we have a high unemployment rate, and I think for someone who is in the beauty pageant, maybe, like, I want to get your perspective as to, like, what do you think about this, and what some of, like, the contestants that are part of the beauty pageant should do, who are, like, from... Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hear me? Avashni. Can you hear me? So because we have problems connecting with her, I think I will for sure ask the question that I had in mind. I think now she can hear us. Can you hear us now? Can you Avashni, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. Can you kindly disconnect the other device because it's giving feedback? So yeah, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so the question was, there's some of the people, given the high unemployment rate in our country, and we do have contestants that are part of the conversation, that are part of the beauty pageantry, and I think given the high SMS rates and people that want to vote for those individuals not having access to funds so they can vote for those people, what are some of the things you think they can implement to make sure that the people who want to vote for them have access to, say, maybe airtime or whatever the case may be, or maybe initiatives that you think they might need to take to make sure that anyone that wants to vote for them can access. Say for instance, we have someone who's from a village somewhere in Limpopo. Someone in Limpopo, like this is like the villages where people don't know anything about beauty pageantry, and they don't have access to like phones or anything. Like for someone who's from that area, like how would you advise that person, or like give them an idea of what they should do to make sure that people in that place have access, or they're knowledgeable of what's going on?
I think that support comes in many different forms. You get emotional support, mental support, and physical support. And people in those situations, it's not always about an SMS that costs 20. Yes, that's how the competition is designed, and people have to vote for their favorite contestant. However, if your purpose in the competition is greater than just making it to the finals or being the winner, support for you will come in any other form possible. Even a kind word to you to show encouragement, to build up your confidence is more than enough. And I believe that those people that are in the rural areas or in a village, as you've described, it's about how you interpret support. And I don't expect, and I have said it even to my family and friends, I would be grateful if you can vote and you have the means to vote, but do not choose between voting and buying food for the day. I would prefer that you buy food, because that's more meaningful to me than just a vote. Your support in encouraging words and the way you support me emotionally means more to me. And that's what I believe people need to understand, that support is not monetary alone. It's also what you say and how you act towards a person.
That's a good answer. It's a good answer. Okay. So this is the next question. What challenges have you faced as a beauty queen, and how have you overcome them?
I think I don't fit the proper stereotype that a beauty queen possesses, as my history has been purely academic and focusing on, making a career out of myself in science. And I think bullying is something that really has been, I have went through during my primary high school years, and not being the epitome of like what they describe as a beauty queen. The idea and mindset of people being pushed onto you as a person is something that I have suffered with internally, because I had to overcome understanding that I had to be confident in myself and not let what everyone else is saying, including social media, to get to me. And that's something I feel that I'm still working on. I won't say it's 100% there, but it is something that I have had challenges with, and I believe that it will eventually come out as a strength in my life.
Bro, I think I found my winner. I think I found my winner in you. I think you have a lot to offer, man, and I just think you winning this. I've had some of the people that are part of the beauty pageant, and I was not too sure about if those people deserve to, because the answers that I got were more self-centered, and having you made me realize that wow, there is that. I almost lost hope in it sounds like everyone is just giving me a PR answer at this point. Everyone is doing foundations, sanitary pads. I was like, no one has really is relatable or someone that I can connect. I haven't felt that, and with you, I really feel like I found this is me. I'm not influencing anyone who's listening to go and vote for Avashni. I'm just saying I found my own winner, and I think with this platform we'll have more guests that come through and you'll also find your winner that you relate to, and it might not be Avashni, but it might be or it might be whoever that comes after, but I sincerely believe that you do have the relevant qualities that are required to be the Miss World South Africa. Yeah, so that, yeah,
Certainly
so
a lot. Just the encouraging words and the belief. Thank you very much.
my pleasure. Moving right along, so can you share any tips or advices for aspiring beauty queens?
I think that you need to understand that being a beauty queen, I will put that like inverted commas, quotation marks, is more than just what the word says. Beauty comes in many different forms, comes from within, and someone will look at you and be like, but that person's not beautiful to me. However, everyone has their own definition of beauty. So I would say the tip is take your personality and use that as your tool to amplify the beauty that you already possess.
That's beautiful, man. I think that kind of like answered the next question that we have, but I'll just say it out so you can have the opportunity to answer it for yourself. So the question goes as follows: how do you define beauty beyond physical appearance?
So I would say it really lies in the profound impact that we make on the world and our personality that we radiate towards the world. It's more about the meaningful acts that you do compared to what is your pictures, what you put out on video. No one's going to remember how you looked 20 years from now, but they're going to remember what you did. And that's where beauty really comes from.
Sure. Thank you for that answer. Like, going off topic again, I just want to know, like, what's your take on mental wellness awareness?
Being a scientist and understanding the physiological aspects of the human body, I know that mental illness is a real thing, despite what everyone says around you and the stigma that could be related to it. However, I feel that you really need to understand your mental illness and push forward to get the necessary help and resources that is available to you around you to grasp onto that and understand that you need to help yourself with taking everyone around you support and encouragement to uplift yourself so that you can continue with your life despite your mental illness. Take a step back, reflect, and build yourself up because you can double mental illness. And mental illness is a real thing despite the stigma, but you need to build yourself up from within and make yourself mentally strong.
Damn. Oh, sorry. Yeah, am I allowed to say that? She's good, bro. She's good. She's really, you're very good at this. You're very, very good. You're very good, I must say. You're very good. Sure. Okay. I'll just move on to the next question. What do you think makes South African beauty unique and special? Sure.
South African beauty is one of a kind beauty. We have such a diverse and radiant community that celebrates the differences of many heritages. I can speak specifically for the Indian heritage as that's what I possess. And just from that, I can see that, okay, yes, I was grown up in an Indian household, but looking around, I see the beauty in the differences of those around us. And South African beauty is the one country in the world that has that diversity and can celebrate that diversity. But it's not just diversity, it's also diversity in unity by being South African.
Okay. Thank you for that answer, and okay, can I just say that I'll also go off topic with this one. 2024 is coming. Who are you voting for?
I have very tough question. I'm still viewing my options and looking at things from a perspective of what are the strengths and weaknesses to progress our country in a positive aspect. And that's the like that's the list that I'm trying to work with. And eventually following the media, I will make an informed decision on what's best for the country.
Mm. Okay, so like, like this is me again. I just want to know, do you think the current party in government is doing more to help the people in SA, or there's much more that can be done, but some of those issues were not addressed, and maybe we need to give other parties a chance to like kind of fulfill some of the needs that are necessities in our country?
I think that the government, we seen it from, I would say, a glass window. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes that we are not aware of. We see biased reviews that come from social media based on someone's opinion usually, but we don't always see the full aspect of what is really happening behind the scenes. The current party could be doing everything in their power with the resources that they have, which we are not privy to see. However, I believe that there's always more to be done. It doesn't matter who is in power, but it's what you do with that power. So I would say that there's always something more to be done and something more to be spoken about. They just need to use the resources to do that. And that's something that needs to happen along the way, no matter who is going to be in power at the time.
Thank you, beautiful. So for people who just joined us on the line, we have Avashni Reddy. She is Miss World South Africa quarterfinalist, and we've been asking her some of the questions that you would love her to answer. So she did, and none of this is scripted. No questions were given to her. I know she's good, but none of the questions that she's answering were given to her prior to this interview. It's all off the top, you know. So after the break, we'll get to ask her more questions. Yeah, I think that's about it. Let's meet after the break.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to Baking Cold Gold with Christopher. On this week's episode, we have a very special guest, as always. So she's also Miss World South Africa quarterfinalist. She's representing the province of Gauteng. So her name is Avashni Reddy. So for those of you who haven't subscribed, followed, rated the show on Spotify or any other DSP that you listen your podcast from, can you please kindly go and do that, because that helps us with the algorithm of all those platforms that I just mentioned. And you know, in this episode, given that we were not able to ask some of the contestants that are part of the beauty pageant, weren't able to answer all those questions or give your questions to the guest. So we've decided on this episode with Avashni that this episode will be solely based on the questions that we couldn't present to the guest. So today's episode, she'll be answering the questions that you guys gave to us, the guests. So Mark did compile 40 questions that come from you. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Avashni. How are you, Avashni?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you doing?
I'm good. So before we get into it, can you please, in your own words, let our listeners know who Avashni is?
Okay, so my name is Avashni Reddy. I'm 20 years old. Yes. Okay. I'm 26 years old. I hold a BSc Genetics Honours degree from Wits University. I reside in the captivating city of Tshwane, Gauteng, and I think I would describe myself as a woman who is brave, a lady who is resilient, and a girl with confidence.
That's dope. So you did. I think I heard you saying you hold a degree I just didn't get the last part. You said you hold an honors degree
In genetics.
genetics. Okay, so she holds a degree in genetics from Wits University. So I just wanted to I'd like to apologize again for mispronouncing your name. So can you please repeat that one more time so I don't make a mistake?
It's Avashni.
Avashni. So you from PTA, Pretoria, 20.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So this would be the first question that our audience has given to you. You know, like we actually compiled questions from our previous interview with some of the guests that we had, because we couldn't ask those. We decided that we'll ask you since you're also coming to the competition, and some of the questions that we compiled based on the poll that we had in our social media platforms. So to add on the questions that those people had, so we have 40 questions from all our guests. So the first question was, how does it feel to represent South Africa on a global stage?
I would say that representing South Africa, being a proud South African despite my Indian heritage, is really something that inspires and radiates within my sole purpose. Coming in and being a South African is something that's very unique, very diverse, and something that we should really be proud of. So representing the country is like representing yourself and representing what you're standing for. So it's something that, it's an opportunity that just can't be changed, or it's just a real blessing.
No, that's great, man. I love the way you so calm, but I don't know if it's you in this interview, but you sound like a very calm person.
Yeah,
even the way you answer your questions. I'm very fascinated. This is outside of the questions that people had for you. So I just wanted to ask that, why did you choose to study genetics specifically?
I think from a young age, actually, I even found a book recently, surprisingly, that, when you do like your family tree and stuff, and I had a book where I wrote in my book at the age of 10, I was like, everything I want to accomplish one day. And I realized, I said at 10 years old, I want to study science. I want to advance the science, like the realm of scientific knowledge. And that's what I did. I followed that right through and went and studied genetics. And my whole thing was that I want to make healthcare better and push the boundaries. Where there's no cures for something, there's a possibility if I can put my hand in there and just try.
No,
That's why
That's great. I think that this is also outside of the questions that they were asking. Do you have any maybe book recommendations that you would recommend for people?
Yes, I'm actually busy reading. It's quite a heavy reading type of book, but it's called Ikigai. It's a Japanese book in English, but it's based on a Japanese philosophy of finding your perfect flow within life. So this is something that I have been reading and trying to implement in my life, because that's like giving you insight and retrospection to yourself, and then to push that onto the roundup.
Okay, so for people who are listening who want to go out and buy that book, can you please spell it out?
Yes, so it's about IKGI.
So can you please repeat that one more time?
Okay, IKGAI.
IKIP.
IKIGAI.
I saw it. Okay, no, I did get that. I believe a lot of people have got. So if you didn't get the name of the book, we'll just drop it down in the description bar. So what type of books are you into? Like, because this is it seems like a very interesting book. So like, what type of books are you reading?
Currently, I think it's been a shift in my mindset and my life, where I've started to read books that actually fuel you on a mindful and soulful level. When I was younger, it was more, like fairy tales, and then I went on to scientific journals, but now it's more that feeding yourself. So it's more in those type of, in the realm of, soulful reading.
Did you find that some of these books that you read influence the type of lifestyle that you live or personal development?
I would say it does, but I think it's more gives you perspective to see things from many different angles, and sometimes have a bird-eyed view to many different situations, circumstances of people around us. Not everything in a book will be 100% applicable to your life, but
Mm.
that's radiated with me and that I would like to implement.
Wow, that's really interesting. That's a very interesting perspective. So I'd like to go back to some of the questions that, well, I took a derail for a bit, and I apologize for people who are listening. So this is me going back to the questions of the audience. So the next question is, it's what motivated you to participate in the Miss World pageant?
So for me, I believe true beauty transcends further than surface level appearances, and I believe it lies in the profound impact that we leave on the world. And the beauty with a purpose is something that really resonates with me. And believing that small steps will create lasting change draws immense inspiration towards me. And then I believe that, women have a remarkable power, which will then give them the ability to be architects of a brighter future. So that's why I decided to put my foot forward, completely out of my comfort zone, because as you can see from my background, if you do a bit of research, it's not something that's usually in my beauty pageants is not usually what I would do. But knowing that it's a leading platform to propel change, positive change around the world, is something that inspired me and said, I want to be part of that platform and make a meaningful impact.
Oh, that's a very good answer. I must say, like, I really admire how you are able to articulate your thought and for people to get what you are actually trying to say. I really admire that, and I actually admire people who can do that, because sometimes I find myself struggling with that, but like I'm also learning from people like you, from just taking that, and like I really I really admire people who can articulate their thoughts like you do. So like moving right to the next question, can you tell us about your journey leading up to becoming Miss World South Africa?
So it's been a journey of really looking within myself and understanding what my why and what my purpose is. I knew that I was placed in this world, as everyone is, to do something. But we all have a similar life. We're born, we live, and then eventually we pass away. But what makes those lives different is what we choose to do with it. So leading up to it, I really did some introspection and was like, what is my why? What is my purpose? How am I going to leave an impact that's bigger than just I lived on this earth? And I did that, and I realized, you know what, this is something that's really close to my heart. I want to leave a meaningful impact. How can I do things to do that? Then I obviously had to learn how to walk in heels, because that's not something that I'm very good at. And then I went through the process, and I put myself out there, and I said, okay, let me apply. I feel that I'm ready, and I know what my why is. And that's why I did it, and that's how I got up to it.
No, I understand. So like, what would you say? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So I think this next question, given that I have a bit of background as to what you guys have been going through, so the next question, I don't think that there's much to it. given that you guys have not yet have to participate in like the pageantry and stuff, but like let me just ask the question either way. So the question goes as follows: how do you balance your responsibilities as Miss World South Africa with your personal life?
So I think that's a question that's possibly a future question, but I have an idea and mindful set of what should be done. And currently, you do have to juggle a lot of things. Behind the scenes, people don't see a lot that happens, and we actually have to do a lot just being a quarterfinalist. But my personality is one that's always, I have to-do lists for my to-do lists. So it's a personality that I understand time management is an important thing, and having a full-time job with doing that and still balancing my personal life, my hobbies. It's a skill that I've really focused on developing at a young age. And I said that, you know what, I really have to understand and prioritize what's important to me before I do anything else. And that time that's set aside must be 100% focused on that activity. Which then links back to your previous question about the book that I was reading. The book is basically about how to manage your life so that you can have the best output of every minute of your day.
Oh, that's a very good. I like you. Bro, he just knows how. Well, by the way, we didn't send any of these questions to her. So for people who are thinking that she probably wrote or prepared, she didn't prepare. I'm also as surprised as you are. Like, I really, really admire how she can do that. I really admire it, I must say. Going back to this is out of the questions that the people asked. So I just wanted to find out, like, on the previous episodes that we had with some of our guests in the show, I realized one thing that they have in common is that they do have foundations or initiators that they have outside of being. Do you have outside of being Miss World? Do you have anything outside of Miss World or initiatives that you are part of outside of the competition?
Current based on my whole thing was, you know, of kindness, a single act of doing something and pushing that within myself outwards, small scale, is something that I have been doing. So like my whole purpose and what I'm in for is symbolizing like dreams and aspirations that are in the young people. And so for the last 6 to 7 years, I've been actively working with individual people and mentoring them for them to realize what their dreams are and to change that into tangible achievements. And eventually, as I become more experienced and understand the realm of everything that we're working with, I will expand that and create a foundation, which I've already been planning, but it's starting small.
Okay. So for people who just joined us on the line, we have a very special guest for those of you who've joined, but now we have to go to an ad break. When we come back, we'll ask some of the questions that you had for her, that we compiled for her. So we'll ask more of those when we come back from the break. From the
I think I'm not sure if you can. I can't hear you, so I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now? So we'll try and fix that when we come back from the ad break. So for those of you who still have more questions, can you please leave them on the description box and we'll try and add them to the questions that we have. Let's meet after the break. Welcome to Bedroom Convo at Lesser. On the line, we have Avashni Reddy. She is Miss World South Africa quarterfinalist, currently resides in PTA. She holds an honors degree in genetics. And before we went on the break, we were asking her a couple of questions that you guys have compiled for her to answer. And I think now we'll still keep on answering those questions that you had for her, because this interview, it's all the questions that you guys had in mind and you wanted her to answer. So the next question that we have, or rather like some of the questions that audience had for you, Avashni, is how could you tell us about any projects or collaborations that you're currently working on?
Currently, I'm not working on anything specifically, as I have a full-time job in the science industry. And the projects mainly associated close to me is my project that I'm using for Beauty with a Purpose. And it's focused on education as a transformative tool to provide essential resources, skills, and mentorship to empower the youth. So I'm working on building that project that I have started in the community and with the youth lives.
Okay, so like, what do you think are some of okay, this is the next question. I almost asked my own question. So this is the next question from our listeners. Are there any misconceptions about beauty pageants that you would like to address?
I think a big misconception about a beauty pageant is that it's surface level beauty. So what's based on a picture or video or how you look on the outside. Beauty pageants are so much more than that. They really strive to empower the leadership skills within every young girl out there and bring forward and amplify a voice that this girl has to the whole nation and the world. It's a platform that is so empowering to a young girl that you can only really see and experience it when you're part of it, but it's not about surface level beauty.
Her name is Avashni. This is Avashni on the line. Okay, so this is the next question. Has participating in the beauty pageant influenced your personal growth and confidence?
Yes, I would consider myself as actually an introvert. Only once you get to know me, I maybe become slightly extroverted and a bit crazy. But to put myself out there really required inner self-confidence and to know what was coming with every step of the way. I would say that I've started to learn so much about who I am, the woman I want to be, and the true essence of the woman I aspire to be is something that I can only do through life's adventures. And going on this adventure is something that just let me learn more about myself and more about the people around me and in the community and the real aspects and issues that are currently going on in the world and not turning a blind eye to it. So I've not just learned about myself, but I've also learned about everything around me and seen things from a different perspective.
Yeah. Okay. How do you stay motivated and inspired as a role model for young women in South Africa?
Thinking back to when I was younger, I would say that I wish I saw someone who looked like me and who was like me in a position of making a positive impact on the generation. However, it wasn't something that was commonly seen or heard of. And knowing that I could possibly be that person to someone else is what pushes me and motivates me to be the best version of myself, so that someone else can look up and be like, if she can do it, why can't I? It's impossible until you do it yourself. So you have to then see that, you know what, I have a motivation, I have a role model, and that motivates me because I know then I'll motivate someone else.
And that's a good answer. Ladies and gentlemen, here we're Avashni on the line, Avashni Reddy. So this is who actually I have my money on for you. For some of you who just joined the line, this is who I have my money on. Yeah, I think for those of you who haven't come, hey, there's big shoes to fill. Yeah, there's big shoes to fill. Yeah. So this is the next question. What steps are you taking to use your platform to raise awareness about the important issues? Okay, it's a good question.
I would say that taking steps forward in something that you're passionate about is the only way that you're going to accomplish real change. There's many issues and make lasting change. So I'm taking the step forward and to improve the education system and bridge the gap between secondary education and actually living life, because those skills I feel is something that is lacking in the youth, where you finish school, you got your degree, and then you're like, what next? I don't know how to even apply for a job. And those skills I feel is being not adequately prepared in school for you. So I'm focusing on building a platform that actually focuses on enhancing the educational life skills of the youth so that they can go forward and make a positive, successful future for themselves and then further on for their communities.
Okay. Can you share any significant achievements or milestones you've reached during your reign?
So I think just being a quarter-finalist is the milestone currently, and crossing my fingers and hoping that I make it to the semis so that I can really put my voice out there and amplify what I stand for.
That's great. How do you handle pressure of being a public figure and representative of South Africa? I think this person doesn't live in South Africa, but okay.
Yeah. So I would say that it's just believing in what you truly stand for and understanding that there's always going to be people out there that aren't going to fully believe in you and want to bring you down. But if you know what you stand for and you can stand above what everyone else is doing below, then that's something that you can carry with you and move forward.
Okay. Is there any particular message or legacy you'd like to leave behind as Miss World South Africa when you are Miss World South Africa?
I would really, really want to leave behind that true beauty transcends surface level appearances, but it actually lies in the profound impact we leave on the world. And that we should overcome our own self-imposed limitations, because that's truly when we can tap into our true potential and amplify that potential to the rest of the world, create the positive mark on the world.
Okay, this is the next question. Can you share a valuable lesson that you have learned during your journey as Miss World South Africa or a finalist?
I wouldn't say it actually during the journey. I would actually take this and say that it was something I learned during my life. I always knew that I wanted to make a meaningful impact, and I knew that, okay, I'm studying science, I want to do it in healthcare. However, things don't always go the way that you wanted to and not as you planned. However, if your end goal and your purpose is you want to make a meaningful impact, like in my situation, you can always pivot and be like, I don't have to follow this path. There is another path to follow to still get the final outcome. And I would say that's really an important lesson that you learn, is pivot when you feel that something is not going as planned, but you can still get the desired outcome by following another path.
Okay. Like you're role model material, man. I should say that you're role model material. And I think, the biggest thing is that we don't get to see people or content from people like you on social media, which is what we need to do, that's what we need to see more of, in my own opinion. And what advice would you give to a young girl who aspires to follow into your footsteps?
I would tell them that you need to also, following in a footstep of a path that maybe I have set could be something beneficial to you. However, you are your own individual and you have your dreams and aspirations and a heart to follow. So follow a path and use someone as a role model to take their strength and make their strength your strength, and take those strengths and make them even better. So follow in the path, but ensure that you're still keeping true to who you are and knowing who you are. So be confident in who you are.
That's a very good answer. So for people who are listening now, can you hear me? I think the line is bad. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, for people, yeah, I can hear you. So for people who just joined us on the line now, on the line we have Avashni. Avashni. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes, you pronounced it right.
Yeah, so on the line, we have her on the line. So she's answering the questions that you guys have sent to us to ask her. So now she's answering another question for those of you who just joined us now. And this is the person that I have one on. If you should know. So how do you maintain a healthy work-life balance while fulfilling your duties as a quarterfinalist?
I would say I'm a type of person with a personality that I just want to make sure that I tick off everything on my list and manage what I do to the best of my ability. So a work-life balance is something that's very important because you have to have time for yourself, your hobbies, your work, and then eventually the beauty pageant. So I really focus on putting all my effort and time on the desired task to do it to the best of my ability when that time is presented. So if I'm working at work, I need to focus at work. If I'm working on my hobby, I need to focus on my hobby and really amplify what I'm doing in that moment to make sure I use every minute to the best of its ability.
Okay. Can you share a highlight or a special moment from your participation in the beauty pageant? I think you said one thing.
Yeah, I think I said that it was making it to the quarterfinalist and the radio interview.
How do you stay grounded and true to yourself?
By understanding who I am as a person and my why. Why am I doing this? What is my desired output at the end of it? Is it to be a good, positive impact in the world? Then that's what I focus on and ground myself within those values of being righteous, of being non-violent, of being truthful, of being peaceful. Those are some values that ground me and come through me in everything that I do, including in this pageant. Is I need to stay true to those values and be confident that I know where I'm going, despite the outside influences and the peer pressure that could come along the journey.
Oh, that's beautiful. So I do. The reason I'm laughing is that I have another someone who's writing basically blogs for every interview that you make with the guest that comes to the show, and his name is Israel. So he's listening to you talk now, and he also has the same. He had the face that I had when we're in 10 questions. He has the same face now. So I thought that was interesting. Interesting thing to share with you. So this is the next question. Can you share any personal experiences that shaped your perspective on beauty and self-worth? I think this was also answered.
I'm not sure if it was answered, but I think a personal experience for me, I'm actually a second dan black belt in karate, which is just a fun, and a second dan black belt in karate, so like the martial arts. And I think a really profound when I realized beauty is more than just surface level is when actually I attained my black belt, and I was like, I'm in a predominantly male driven sport. However, I could get to this point and I was still considered beautiful despite being around all these other people who were typically looking like me. And that's when I realized, it's really what you do and not how you perceive beauty as just big you.
Okay, so for people who just joined us now, on the line we have Avashni Reddy, who is Miss World South Africa quarterfinalist and a black belt. I had to mention that. And this is the person that I also have my money on. And after the break, I also ask some of the questions around the black belt subject. I just want to know. I don't know anything about being a black belt, so I think also ask something around that. So after the break, for you who just joined us on the line, we have Avashni Reddy, Miss World. She is Miss World South Africa quarterfinalist. So we'll ask her more of your questions when we come back. Cheers. Welcome back to Backroom Controls with myself. I am in the last segment of the show. So we're taking a few questions from you guys and we have to close it up, And, I really enjoyed this episode. By the way, this is the person that I have my money on, if you want to know. So, yeah, so the name of the person, a name for you who just joined us, Avashni Reddy. She is Miss World South Africa quarterfinalist. She's also a black belt, which I want us to get more into that. Why black belt? Why? How did you get into that?
So,
yeah.
It's a funny story, actually. So, I was 9 years old, and my brother and some of his friends were going to a karate lesson. And my brother turned around and told me, he was like, "No, you can't come because it's only for boys." And I was like, "Really, what did you say?" And then he was like, "No, it's only for boys." And I was like, "Okay, watch me." And I ended up with, and I followed through. And through the years, first it started off as, I'm going to prove you wrong. But eventually it became a true passion and something that really became a foundational aspect of my personality and the things that I started learning during the journey of just martial arts, because it was self-defense, but then it was confidence in yourself, performing in front of an audience, and then also the discipline and characteristics that come with the sport. And I followed through and I ended up falling in love with the sport. And when I was 18, I got my black belt, and it was one of the happiest times of my life and a true accomplishment after 10 years of practice and working. And then I worked further and I was like, no, one black belt is not enough, so I'm going to get my second one as well. And eventually when I was 23, then I got my second black belt.
That's interesting. Do you think the practice influence part of who you are?
Yes, definitely. I think it shaped me and my personality to be grounded and to be confident while still understanding boundaries. And that's something that martial art truly teaches you. It teaches you how to control your inner thoughts, your inner feelings, and present that out in a sports way. However, it treats you more than just that. It also shows you your personality. The personality was there initially, but it brings it out and refines it.
Okay. So how do you handle criticism and negative feedback and turn it into a positive learning experience?
As everyone struggles with this aspect, and I'm no different. I'm someone that does take critique quite harshly initially. And my go-to is I always cry. I cry for everything. However, my crying isn't a sign of weakness. It's more, this is the way I need to let out the bad things so that I can push forward and turn those critiques into something that's positive towards me. Sometimes critique is not always bad. It's sometimes constructive. And we just need to see it that way and understand that the difference between constructive critique and bad, harmful, meaning like aim to hurt you critique. And by understanding that, then we can take the constructive criticism and make it into something that's positive for us to become better people, because no one is actually perfect.
Okay, that's actually a good answer. So, can you describe the support system that has helped you succeed in your journey as Miss World South Africa?
I've had a very good support system, from my family to my friends, who encouraged me and built me up whenever I had doubts in my mind. You always think that you yourself are your worst enemy, and you see yourself in the mirror as something that other people don't always necessarily see you as. So to overcome that self-doubt, it's necessary to always talk to a trusted person. And my family and friends around me have truly been there to set a foundation that, you know what, it's okay to have those doubts, but remember, this is what we see. So see yourself through my eyes and build you up from there.
Okay, this is a good question that I have now.
Yeah.
Took a look at it now. So what steps are you taking to ensure your advocacy work has a lasting impact on your community?
So as I have expressed before, my advocacy is based on education and using education as a transformative tool. I've been working with individual kids over the last few years to try and take what they dream are and turn it into an achievement that they can actually get. And by doing that on a small scale, which eventually I hope to propel into something that's a lot bigger by going to school, but starting on a small scale, I'm really understanding the true issues that the youth face and how to tackle that. Once we understand the small things and what makes the small things the issue, I think then going on a bigger scale and bringing it out there to the whole community is something that will be much more meaningful than just going out there without the necessary research and knowledge on what's really happening.
Okay. How do you strive to be inclusive and represent the diverse culture of South Africa?
The diverse culture of South Africa is something that I'm really proud of. And to be inclusive in every step that I take is about understanding that yes, we are all different and we speak different languages, we have different cultures, but at the end of the day, we are human. And having that human quality to be relatable and to be there for another person as a human shows that we can be inclusive of everyone, because if we are human, then everyone's human. So it's about having human qualities to possess and bring out to everyone else around us.
Oh, okay. So this is the question. I was just reading it out before. So
do you enjoy doing in your free time with fulfilling your Miss World duties?
So in my free time, as I do martial arts, but besides that, I also draw, and it's something that I actually loved when I finished high school, but then I've picked it up again and I really started to harness my skills in drawing.
Oh, okay. So this is the last message. I believe this is the last message. Lastly, what message would you like to convey to the listeners of our podcast, especially those in South Africa?
Be proud to be a South African, because you are placed in a country of such diversity and opportunity if you understand how to take it. Understand that your own enemy is usually yourself. So overcome your own self-imposed limitations and believe in yourself and believe in what you can do going forward. Because if you have that belief, you can really change the world.
Nice, beautiful. This is the person that I have my money on. I just need to keep on emphasizing that I'm not in pursuit to get anyone to vote for her. This is me personally. I'm voting for her. I have my money on her. So for people who want to follow you on social media, can you please give us those social media handles?
Yes, so for Instagram, it's Avashni Reddy. That's just how it is. And Facebook is also Avashni Reddy.
You're not on Twitter?
No, I'm not on Twitter, unfortunately.
What specific reason?
I would say that one of my greatest weaknesses, and is something that I'm working on, is my social media aspect in my life.
Oh no, good. Yeah, I get you. I also struggle from that. It's like, so yeah, you need to, because if you see, I don't know if you've noticed that I don't really like have a big following, but I started taking it seriously because he said, no, it's a huge platform that you need to take advantage of if you want to have ultimate reach, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, but I'm not really that person. But now I'm starting to like get into groove and like finding what I like about it. But yeah, I thought I'd share it. Yeah. So for anyone who wants to follow us on social media, want to follow me on social media, the _M_MH on every platform on social media. We are available on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and TikTok. I thank you, Avashni, for joining us. I really enjoyed, having you, and it for me, like, this is me. Like, I really have a lot to ask, but given that we don't have a lot of time, I'm not satisfied because I do have like questions, like I'm itching to ask you, but I think maybe if I can have you some other time, I'd really like to like talk to you about like more about the black belt, like we can talk about a lot of things, but I do still have a lot of questions in mind. But because we do have to end this episode where we are now, but I really appreciate you and coming through, and like I'd really like to wish you all the best in you and in your journey of being Miss World South Africa. And I know that in 2 weeks time, in the second week of August, they'll be announcing the top 54 semi-finalists, and I hope that you are part of those, because I think, in my opinion, you're one of those people who are most deserving to be in there, given that I can feel that you have a lot to offer, not only to the people of South Africa, but the world in general, and I'd really like to say that on behalf of all the people that are listening to the podcast, to South Africa and beyond, man. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much. Like, as I said previously, this means a lot to me, and I just want to commend you for what you're doing. To be putting these girls on this platform and asking them these questions for them to think and really introspect is something that's really a blessing. So you should really be proud of that, and thank you so much for awarding me the opportunity to have this conversation with you and to put what my purpose and passion is out there for your listeners. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, and I hope we can do this next time when we get into studio, so people can see the lovely face behind this conversation. I think for people who haven't subscribed, followed, rated the episode, it's coming out in a few days time, and we'll try and like build promo. Israel is in studio, Mark is in studio. They'll try and like write some of the blog posts to make sure, and we'll for sure send the links to Avashni, so she can also like read some of the wonderful articles that you guys write for the podcast, So, and I truly appreciate you too, guys, so you should know. I really appreciate you too. So thank you for being with us for this long in the episode, in the segments of this podcast. And like for people, and I did mention before, please go out there and follow. And we'll be launching, by the way, we'll be launching our video podcast coming the second week of October. We'll be launching, and I'd really like to have Avashni there, but it's something that we'll discuss with her. So till the next one, we really appreciate you. Come on another episode with another lovely guest. Cheers, guys.